You are now tuned in to the Free Play Media Podcast Network.
We are live, Chris Denman, and we've got a guest in today, but I'm going to tell you about our friends at Barrel Beard and Tattoo Oil. Be sure to patronize them. Check them out online. Lots of great reviews. I use them. Travis uses them. No ashy elbows. No bad hair. That's right. Barrel Beard and Tattoo Oil. Check them out today. Today, a quick one. This came together pretty quick. Our friend Zach Gzehoviak's here. What's up, Zach?
Hello, what's up, Chris?
I heard you should do radio. Your mom thinks you should do radio, right? This is a podcast, so this is close.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know if I get my voice right sometimes. I don't know. My mom thinks I have a good radio voice.
Well, moms think a lot of things. We'll say that.
She also thinks I should be on The Voice, like I was telling you earlier. So
yeah, and I've seen you do karaoke. I wouldn't have a problem with it.
I'm not good enough to be on The Voice.
Is that an aspiration of yours?
No.
No? Okay, we'll dive into that and more. We are live. So Zach just recently, along with his compadres, finished up a very successful first-time run for Flyover Comedy Festival. So before we get into it, man, beautiful.
Seriously. Thank you.
It was really cool to see, man. So Flyover, I wanted to have you in to talk about that, and then just we've gotten along so well, so I was like, I can spend an hour with this guy.
Let's talk about The Voice instead.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Who's your favorite judge?
Probably Blake Shelton, because that's the only one I know.
So yeah, I'm really bad about that. And then it comes across.
Wait, is that American Idol? Blake Shelton?
I think you're right on The Voice, because I was about to say I do the same thing, and then it comes across like I'm trying to be cool.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, Aerosmith with that Joe Perry. You know, like it's like you're not quite with it. But yeah, so Flyover.
Yes.
Focus.
Yeah.
I'm tired of talking about The Voice.
Let's focus on the festival.
Do you mind not coughing so much? I can't edit those out.
I know. I'm sorry.
Everybody's got that right now. It's a matter of time.
Everybody who knows me well for the past few years, like, dude, you okay? I'm gonna stop coughing.
Got a little hiccup.
Yeah. I don't know what was going on. Okay.
So start me here. So we'll back it up. So we just had a really cool weekend here in St. Louis with you all doing Flyover. Started on Thursday. We were a small part of that, but even that, like, I know we left the gratuitous reviews on Facebook for each other. Great review, thank you.
No problem.
But I put it in there. I was like, I was really surprised at the turnout at the local showcase that we pushed, and it was full. Like, the room was full.
Yeah,
I was expecting 30 and half nervous that we were attached to that and we were going to get blamed for it not being up. But I was like, it's St. Louis, it's fickle.
Right.
And every show I saw packed. Everyone was happy.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So let's start it. Like, what got this going? So it's not just you. You have partners that you started this with.
Yeah.
There's a lawyer in there too. Shrewd move.
Got a lawyer in there.
I like that. I just have funny guys that work with me that are like silly, and everybody's like, all right, well, we'll just do something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll try and figure out the business side.
Yeah, when you're getting serious, you got to lawyer up.
Yeah. No kidding. Where did this get going, man? So you've done some stand-up.
Yes. So I guess I started, it was maybe even before that. I'd always loved stand-up comedy.
Sure.
Always. Since I was a little kid, I always wanted to watch stand-up stuff. I was like the guy who was like, you want to watch this? And friends were like,
Zach,
like,
we're 7.
Okay,
Richard
fine.
Pryor's not allowed.
Right. So actually in college, when I was at Webster, I had an internship at this place in New Jersey and got to write for thelaughbutton.com.
Very nice.
So I started listening to all these up-and-coming comics and reviewing albums as best I could at that time.
As best you can.
Yeah.
As a sophomore at Webster in St. Louis, you're like trying to explain.
Junior, man.
Okay, as a junior. My mistake. Yeah.
No, so, but the perk of that job was I got to go around to some really cool shows in New York City. And, like, you know, when Hannibal Buress used to run the Knitting Factory comedy show out there, now it's Kenny DeForest, who's also, you know, an awesome comic. But to go to that show, the Comedy Cellar, all these places. And so it was just really inspiring. So when I got back here, actually, I had some friends that were had been involved in the St. Louis comedy scene, doing whether open mics or shows or
So you
whatever.
lived on the East Coast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
About 8 years ago, I moved out here from right on the border of Connecticut and New York. So that's where I went to high school and stuff. When I got out here, actually Kenny Kynes, local comic, he ran the open mic at Nick's Pub, and he's the one who convinced me to get up there. Yeah, I would go to the shows and like just hang out, and I'd always wanted to do it, but I was too scared. So finally, I got up there, and I picked a hell of a night for it. It was the Super Bowl. It was Super Bowl Sunday. Was my first. And
again, if you're not familiar with Nick's Pub, like it's weird because you'll see 30-plus-year-olds in there, but you swear you're around like Rocka Sioux frat people or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's a busy bar.
They got a great beer selection. We made friends with the bartenders.
It
was like every Sunday. It was like I stayed out way too late. So I got up there. I was really nervous. A girl that I was dating was in the room. We'd been dating for like 2 weeks, and so
you did your first stand-up set in front of her.
Yeah.
Slick move, man.
And she told me afterward that she was telling herself that if I did bad, she was like, if he does bad, it's fine. Just it's fine.
Was it a good? I can't. No one's gonna do good the first time up, right?
Well, I was I was at this. I was so nervous. I was like drinking other people's beers when mine ran out. And right. Chain smoking and
remembering
like
what
that.
you did in front of your mirror.
Yeah, real cool stuff. Anyway, I only did like 3 minutes, but for whatever, I guess there was a good mood in the room, and I had a decent, opening or whatever, and I did not bomb my first time.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Did you prepare? I mean, that has to be part of it. Yeah. And you're thinking like,
I was
at that point,
2 years of material built up into 3 minutes.
For the 3-minute thing. That's great, man. Like I've got that, like, we've done live stuff in front of, crowds, and, there's jokes involved. I've hosted things where I've had to write jokes and those kind of things. But I've been saying for 2 years, like, I'm going to go hit the circuit. But if I don't have 3, 4, 5 nights a week to do it, like, I'm just going to do a decent job once, and then I'm going to do a decent job for 4 years, and then whatever. Yeah. So it's something I still am like, I need to do it. And I catch a lot of shit from people for not. But honestly, like, when you work 12, 14-hour days sometimes, like, hitting an open mic, it's something you're going to suck at, despite my love for it. Like, so kudos to just getting up there, man.
And it's definitely something that when you really want to do it, you got to, it's good to be 100% in and not.
You see people that have been doing it for years, if they have some time off, and be like, eee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're used to seeing them succeed. So,
Very
so
true.
you got up, did it. You got into the scene like that, right?
Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
So how many years ago was that?
Man, 5 or 6 years ago?
5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it's just kind of grown from then?
Yeah. So during that, and then I, did open mics for a couple of years and would come out and my friend Adam and I ran a show at Brennan's together called the Falcon Punch Variety Hour. And that was kind of like some sketch and stand up, just a mix of stuff. We just had fun, and it was really goofy. But then I booked shows at Brennan's. We used to have this venue in the basement. That's how I got to know Henry Phillips. He came through down and performed there a few times. Tommy Johnigan performed down there. It was a cool little showroom.
Yeah, and it's fun too because you get to infuse like passion and creativity in that stuff.
Yes.
The other side of that is nobody likes you, and no one will come to your shows. Like those are the two emotions I feel. Where like if you kick ass like you guys did this weekend, nothing can stop you. Yeah. If you're 5 seats light of what you wanted, I want to jump off a cliff. Like, maybe I'm a little extreme.
It's kind of a no. That's definitely the feeling. I can't say so. Like 5 years ago, I started thinking about the idea of a comedy festival along with a few other people, and it never really got going. So finally, I was kind of doing my thing, still going to comedy shows and whatnot, and Chris Warnowski, who now lives in Cleveland and writes for Cleveland.com, approached me with the idea. We got a group together, started working on it, and then this weekend happened. I was trying to condense all that stuff.
And you did a really good job of that. And I'm sure you guys worked on a lot more. But there was a little bit of a feeling from that. Like, as a guy who does similar things that you do, I'm talking to you. You weren't nervous about stuff, but you're just like, all right, here we go. Like, let's do it.
Yeah.
And
it's going to happen at a certain point. You can't, once you sell a ticket, you can't.
It's like, well, I mean, I could always just shit myself. Like, that's like one of those things where it's like, what am I going to do? But you guys nailed it. And we keep going to that. But it's interesting to me how it does. That's everything. I can't tell you the amount of radio show, podcast, comedy ideas that are fantastic that could end up somewhere that go nowhere.
Yes.
Right? Like no one's ever, well, some people, but like the people I've talked to, no one's ever short of the creative ideas. It's the execution.
Yes.
And that's super difficult too.
Yes.
Even down to just like making sure certain areas are clean, making sure the wristbands fit people, making sure you have gift bags for the comics. Like, those are the things you don't think about that take, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours at a time to do.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, man. So, again, I'm just going to keep saying great job.
Yeah, thanks,
but, man, what do you think did it? Do you think, I think I saw a ton, I'll give you my opinion, then I want yours. I saw a ton of local comics, the actual comics that are here, supporting and out at the shows they weren't performing at. Not always easy to do as a comic because you're probably inherently selfish to a degree if you're a comic. So you're out somewhere else. You're not going to go, if you can go do an open mic, you're not going to go see the same person you've seen do a set 50 times at ABC Bar and Grill.
Right.
So you had all the comedy, not all, but a ton of the comics in. And then improv people, I think I'm going to book like an improv team on every single show I do from now on because holy shit, they supported that.
Oh, it was great. I did not know, we did not know what to anticipate. We honestly thought the side showcases we had going on was some really great comics, but people that, the general public maybe doesn't know. We were worried that there was going to be 10 or 15 people in those seats, and then I would
not have been surprised.
And then I would be walking around and saying, "Hey, sorry, man. Thanks for coming out.
Let's keep supporting the scene, man." Yeah.
And St. Louis showed up,
right?
And it was really cool. The improv community showed up. Some fantastic sketch stuff.
For sure.
I mean, Bottom of the World killed it. Fatal Bus Accident did an amazing job. That is a really great show that everybody in St. Louis should go check out. And it was just really cool to see. I felt like St. Louis comics, not that they don't every week, but I felt like hosting all these showcases really stepped up, really, did their best stuff. And the out of town comics walked away from being like, walked away saying I was really impressed. Like not with the festival, but with them and just the whole fun of the thing and the Grove and
it just all kind of came together, didn't it? Like a part of me is just like I'm baffled at it wasn't one night. You're like, well, we killed it on Saturday and whatever. Every single night you guys did well, and we can just keep jacking off Flyover Comedy Festival for this whole time. I don't give a damn because I want it to grow, man. I hope you guys kick ass, and it gives people like I hope that you guys' success breeds like I'm not even joking, like 10 mini festivals next year, or people's attempts at festivals. Like, yes, it looks good at that one, did really well.
Yeah,
I hope you guys gonna parlay it into another one.
Yeah, we are. We're gonna make an announcement.
Okay. Yeah. Did you want to do that today?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. What's the announcement?
It will come out from our channels, but I'll say that Flyover Comedy Festival is returning next year to the Grove.
Good to hear.
We're really excited. We thought that. Coming into the weekend, we didn't know if we'd say next year, and by the end of the weekend, we were like, guess I'm gonna stop this now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we were just people started saying next year by the end of the weekend, and we thought we were gonna take a couple days off. I was getting messages from Chris and other people saying, next year we should really do this. And let's think about this and what could we do better. And
that's awesome.
We have a survey made up already that's going to go out to all the attendees.
That's so fantastic, man. And it's not, I know it's not about monetizing it. I mean, it is actually, if you want to keep doing things, there has to be money to fuel these things. But
right. No, I don't want to cut you off here.
No, please cut me off.
To that point, the festival, we are a 501c3.
Right.
So this has been a labor of love from the beginning, and that's the reason why this stuff, because there's passionate people behind it.
That's a huge part of it, because you can tell like every single detail of people pitching in, and you're asked like, why are they doing this? Well, because they love it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's 100% right. And I think maybe paying ourselves for our time at some point down the road. I don't know, but
I don't know, man.
Covering our expenses, but just putting more money back into the festival to try to. My dream would be to get some stand-ups that would normally never do, a smaller venue, but we can afford to kind of underwrite that and do some really cool stuff in the Grove.
Maybe not like financially or what it's become, but it's maybe akin to, and maybe this is what you're thinking, but the comedy version of me seeing Motorhead at a barbecue place during what do you call it? South by Southwest.
That'd be amazing.
You know what I mean? Like if you could provide something, like somebody's walking down Manchester and goddamn Dave Chappelle, you know what I mean, is doing something in front of 100 people or whatever. So
and you better get there early, because there's half the room's tickets and the rest is gonna be wristband holders. So just that kind of thing.
Yeah. What and obviously you'll have to do it, but as far as bringing in comics, were you able to? And I'm trying not to go too deep or personal here, but as far as comics go, this is a really hard thing if you put on shows, covering money, covering your ass, covering people's like what they expect to make, and then if you're basing it off ticket sales, are you going to get those? Are you going to get those? Hey, could walk out of here with a bunch of money in my pocket. Could walk out of here being like, hey, let me get your back, vendor. Like whatever is happening.
Yeah.
Were you able to, or were you comfortable with the amount of pay to bring in comics from other cities? Because even if I know what comics make typically, right?
Yep.
Like it's not that secret, but that would, to me, would represent one of the more challenging parts, balancing talent with budget.
Absolutely. So, and especially as sponsorships and different things are rolling in throughout the year. So, we had a couple of, I wouldn't call it last minute, but sponsorships that came through that really helped out.
Sure.
To the point where, we had some changes. For example, one of our performers dropped out a week before, one of our, headlining performers.
Who was that?
Josh Androsky.
Okay.
So he couldn't make it. He had another gig. It's fine. That stuff happens.
Does it?
Sometimes.
You're such a nice guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, we booked you 6 months ago. But sorry, go ahead.
However, it was really cool because Kristen Toomey from Chicago, who's an incredible comic, was able to step in. And it was amazing to have her down for Saturday.
Yeah. I feel like I met her. She was really nice. I met so many damn people over the weekend. Like,
but I mean, her and Rena Com, and they're just awesome and super funny. So anyway, there were some things adjusting, and with that come different agreements with, what you're paying for and all that. And, a lot of this was booked through relationships made from comics here with other comics, and and then our submissions process, of course.
Yeah,
but
do you think you're going to get twice the submissions next year?
That's what we're hoping.
Word of mouth? I would think so, because I think people were, and again too, I'm not a comic, but I'm around comics in St. Louis all the time, and I think people were confused as to like, okay, you have a lot of younger to the game comics that probably haven't submitted to a ton of things,
right?
So it almost feels pretentious to fill out some kind of submission form. Like, I'll just ask and there's somebody on. But there were a few comics that I'm like, I wish they would have done it. I wish they would have submitted.
Oh yeah,
and maybe they realized it too. But
and me too. I mean, there was definitely, and that's something that, it's a weird thing in St. Louis too, right? Because
what's our problem? What is wrong? It's almost like if something cool happens, you're almost embarrassed to talk about it.
Skeptical.
Yeah, and then B, like when you do say it, well, they're like, "Well, I caught Stranger Things last week," and it's like, "What? Did you just try and downplay something to your Netflix experience? Like, what?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?"
Yes. No, and it's a weird thing too. There are comics who currently live here that are very established. Well, definitely. I mean, I assume some people felt like they should have been invited as opposed to having to submit, which I understand. At the same time, in my point of view, the submissions fee was so low.
Yeah.
I mean, we charged $5 for St. Louis comics at one point.
Right.
So I think supporting the festival so that we can do something cool,
Well, that's tough too, like, because you go back and forth. So as the entity, you feel like you do a couple favors for people or you do stuff for people. You're like, well, where's the community? Why aren't they doing something for me? Sometimes it takes a long time for people to realize, like, you need help somewhere. Like, they may view you like, this is big, bad festival. They don't need little old me. When it's, well, you do need them. You do need them. They need your Facebook reviews. They need your likes. They need, like, all this silly stuff that seems trivial. But it's
the
a
community
weird back
support
and forth.
is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, from improvisers, anyone putting on shows, all the stand-up comics. I mean, just having people come out and be excited about it, whether they do comedy or not. But the local comedy scene support, super important.
Absolutely.
But
So next
that's all
year-
stuff we're
Yeah.
talking about and figuring out how to So.
No, it's all such a big process, and it's awesome that you've had such a good first year, and then, more money, bigger names. If that's even your goal, I don't know. Maybe you keep it small. Whatever is easiest, man. I say blow it out of the water, but I think fireworks during the last show would probably be your best bet.
So I can say dates are on hold.
Really?
At 2 venues for next year, and you're cautious when you try to scale something and you don't want to overdo it or, you don't want to. So, suffer your slump. And then, it's like,
you don't want to go from 105% occupancy rate to 43%. Right?
Yeah. That's a little scary. So I don't know. I think it's just kind of a slow build and trying to just do things. I don't know, just be smart and think about what room, because it was cool to a certain extent to turn people away from smaller rooms that had great shows going on.
I went back in during Schmistery, or there was a few different shows that I popped in. I was like, I'll catch some of Gabe Kia. There was no room for my big ass, like back in the back even.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not mad at all. This is cool. This is great. And that's better for the performers.
Yeah. I mean, it was just so great to invite those people down. I mean, especially in the submissions process where you pay, and sure, we give you a T-shirt and a koozie and all this stuff and hopefully a good time. That's part of that, that deal. And luckily they got to perform to great rooms.
They do, and if anything, I mean, you got people that have never seen, like, that's what thing I love is, like, getting people out that have never, like, you don't think, like, it's bad, and there's a million people to blame for different things, but it's weird to me that in St. Louis, people don't always think of stand-up comedy as, like, a thing to do on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, well, I'm going to go get hammered at my neighborhood bar or go to dinner with my parents somewhere or something. Like, it's not, I'm like, this is the best option.
Yeah.
Like, this is the option.
And
like,
I think things are definitely, growing. Shows are getting better. Comics are getting better.
For sure. That's
No
a big
doubt.
thing.
That is a big thing.
People compare you to the guy or girl they just saw in the Netflix special.
Right.
They don't care that it's an open mic and it's your second year doing comedy.
They don't care. They're like, I went to comedy one time at that bar and the Blues game was on and I was trying to watch it, but these guys were talking about their dicks. And,
that's exactly what happens though, man. Gosh. So obviously you're proud of all the performers. You're really happy. You've already named some of them. Who surprised you the most?
Out of all the performers, oh man.
And this isn't a first place. Just think of somebody. Let's say, think of someone that you were really happy with their performance, or excited by, or surprised by.
So I had A few favorite shows. I really enjoyed watching Sam Talent at Gzehoviak. I knew he was gonna
Great. I
crush
didn't
it.
catch him. Awesome.
Yeah. I knew he was gonna.
Just trying to connect with you, Zach. Sorry. I met Sam, and he was a really nice guy. Yeah.
Very nice guy.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because Brennan's in the Central West End catered food on Friday night for performers. Mm-hmm. And Sam loved the smoked salmon. He was just like, couldn't get enough of it. And a lot of people are like, smoked salmon.
Yeah.
Like, and he was like, do you guys see there's salmon in there?
It's like, this is a big day.
Yeah. And he was just crushing it. And he was like, will Brennan Salmon sponsor my podcast? And I was like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And he mentioned it on his podcast today.
That's awesome.
Like Brennan.
Good for him. What's his podcast called? Give him a shout
out. It's called The Half Hour Prophecy, or Sam Talent's Half Hour Prophecy.
Nice. I'll have to check it out.
It's on Sexpot Comedy. It's really funny.
Good. And it's sponsored by Brennan's Salmon.
Right. Not Brennan's. Brennan's smoked salmon.
Salmon. Got
served with caviar cream and capers, red onion, little lemon.
Ooh la la.
Yeah.
Hello.
Outside of that, it didn't really surprise me, but I heard from those guys too and other people. I think the Fatal Bus Accident put on their best show yet, local show.
That's great.
Like that show could go to other cities and tear it up.
That's the best compliment I think you can give a show. Like,
yeah.
Whenever people are like, oh, that would work in New York, or that would work at a showcase in LA.
I have no doubt that they could go do that show and put it in New York, and people would have a great time.
And people would be excited about it. Yeah. Again, that comes back to we don't think we're shit here.
Yeah. Yeah.
While also being fearful of anybody else from the outside.
Yeah.
So Fatal Bus Accident was good. Sam Talent was good. We were talking about this. I think we just need to get to it. We had Sarah Pearl in for our morning radio show this morning. And we did our little roast segment, and it was a lot of fun. And we were talking afterwards. So she hosted for Todd Beer, called him Steve, and she seemed all right with it. She's like, I'm over it. It's whatever. But
she owned her mistake.
Yeah,
and
that's got to be a highlight.
That's what you got to do.
It's like you have a very funny stand-up. I love Sarah's act. She's great. And I'm sure she was pumped to be in front of a sold-out crowd at the Ready Room. And then one tiny little mistake, and I'm sure Todd gave her hell about it.
Oh, I was so okay. I felt so bad for her because I knew. So of course, when you're opening for the headliner of the festival, you're going to be a little nervous, or whatever. She got up there, and she destroyed. Her hosting set was great. Everybody was cracking up. I had people that I've known come up to me involuntarily, and say, she was great. And then Rafe went on, and then she came up to
Rafe killed it too.
Rafe killed it.
Surprise.
Rafe killed it as well.
Yeah.
I don't want to forget that. Yeah, he did great. And then she went up to bring Todd, and what made it so good was like, my favorite comedian, Steve Bear, whatever. And then immediately,
she had
oh God, Todd, it's Todd. And I think she said, I'm gonna puke on myself, or like something like that,
right?
Something along those lines. And Chris and I were watching, and we were just like, just our heads down and we're laughing, just cracking up.
Yeah,
and I felt so bad for her because she did such a great job.
Yeah,
and yeah, I mean, that stuff happens.
Absolutely, she was over it today, but I just thought that was pretty great during the headlining set. So, and he delivered, right? Like his set was fantastic, right?
He was great. He did all crowd work, his 30th anniversary crowd work tour. My dad was in the front row. Actually, my parents were.
Your parents are great. I met them.
They're great.
I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. Yeah.
Thank you.
They were. I was like, man, I'm glad my mom's not here. My mom and your mom would be like, just like the whole festival would know our
dangerous.
names. Yeah, they'd be like, have you met our son?
Like duet on karaoke.
Right.
Yeah.
She's a little bit country. She's a little bit rock and roll.
Yeah. Yep. Totally.
Yeah, that's great. I bet they were super proud. They flew in for this.
They did. They flew in from Arizona, and that was really cool to be able to show them what I've been working on, because they just like, I'm like, I'm working on a comedy festival, and they're like, yeah, well, is it You got them. Well, how's your bills doing?
Yeah.
You have insurance yet? Stuff like that.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially like, oh, that's fun. What bar is hosting that? Like, what singular bar? That's great, man. So you're going to do it next year. Super successful. Do you have an idea? And I mean, obviously, you'll there's so much time between now and then, but do you at least have an idea of who you want to book, comic-wise or level-wise? You have to do some budget assessment?
Yes, we definitely have to do a budget assessment, and that's going to be based on, we're hoping that we can increase our sponsorships this year. Mm-hmm. So a lot of that stuff's going to depend, but we already have a list of names of people we want.
That's great.
So it just, that's always tough. You never know anyone's tour schedule. You don't, whatever. So it's, we'll have to figure that out. And a year out, it's so hard to, book people at that time, but you can.
You start with a pencil in a few names, I'm sure.
Right.
Well, great, man. I'm looking forward to it. Are you going to do anything in the meantime? Is there anything popping up that we need to know about? Brennan's, go see you at Brennan's, right? You're always there.
Yeah, I'm always at Brennan's. Basically 7 days a week.
Oh my gosh.
No, I'm there a lot. It's a great place. But outside of that, actually, so I believe throughout the year, we haven't figured out all the details yet, but Flyover Comedy Festival might be presenting some shows at the Ready Room.
Wow, that's great. We did a show there once for like a live podcast, and Blues are playing, Cardinals playing, every single bad thing that could happen for whatever. And there were like 40-something people there, and they all paid to get in. So I wasn't a wash. We had Libby Higgins on stage with us, so that's amazing.
Great. Yeah, she's so funny.
She's the best, and such a sweetheart. Yep. She needs to get over that bullshit and perform next year, by the way. She's like, I would have been embarrassed. I don't care. Libby, you're too good.
Oh, yeah.
But no, we did a show there, and I love whatever you do, something there or like off Broadway or something, but specifically at Ready Room, it's so nice because they're pros. They're used to dealing with like 50 moving parts. And they're like, you have 3 mics and you're going to stand still? Okay, we'll crush it for you. Like the sound quality is so good. It's a professional venue. They do a really good job. So
they do. Yeah. I love those guys. They've been really supportive. They helped us out a lot. And, we're excited. And then so Nick Vatterott and Ashley Barnhill are coming to the Ready Room on December 15th.
I think I knew that. Yeah. Nick's from here.
Yeah.
We've had him on our radio show before. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's hilarious, and Ashley Barnhill is really funny too. So I'll be at that show for sure.
There you go. Check it out. Guys, thanks for listening, man. Thanks for coming by, Zach.
Thank you.
Flyover. If you haven't yet, rate us, review us on iTunes, wherever you listen to us. And do Zach a favor. Head over to his Facebook page. Give him some love. If you've got pictures from the festival, tag them. Do all that stuff. Let's keep it moving. So,
please.
That's right. Yeah. Thanks, Zach.
Thank you.